David Carradine is leaving Bruce Lee's funeral when someone grabs his arm in the parking lot. He turns around and sees Steve McQUEEN, the king of cool, the man who just carried Bruce Lee's coffin. What Steve says in the next 15 minutes is not an accusation. It is a confession, a secret Bruce told him 1 week before dying, a secret about the actor Bruce Lee was afraid to meet. Seattle, Washington, July 25th, 1973, Wednesday afternoon, 4:47 p.m. The funeral is over. 200 people slowly dispersing from Lakeview Cemetery. Black suits and black dresses moving toward cars. The gray Seattle sky threatening rain that never quite falls. David Carradine walks quickly through the parking lot, head down, trying to disappear. He should not have come. He knows that now. The looks, the whispers. The cold shoulders from people who knew Bruce. He paid his respects. Now he needs to leave before someone makes a scene. His rental car is at the far end of the lot. He walks faster, almost there. A hand grabs his arm, strong grip, stopping him cold. Carradine. David turns. Steve McQUEEN stands there, the biggest movie star in the world, the king of cool, blue eyes red from crying, black suit wrinkled, tie loosened, the face that sold 100 million movie tickets, looking like it has aged 10 years in one afternoon. He was one of the pallbearers. David saw him. Steve McQUEEN and James Coburn carrying Bruce Lee's coffin, carrying their friend to his grave. Mr. McQUEEN. Steve does not let go of David's arm. We need to talk. David glances around. People watching, noticing. Steve McQUEEN, grabbing the kung fu actor in the cemetery parking lot. This will be in the tabloids tomorrow. I do not think this is the place. No, it is not. There is a bar 2 blocks from here. You are going to buy me a drink, and I am going to tell you something Bruce wanted you to know. David hesitates. Steve McQUEEN is not asking. He is telling. The voice of a man who is used to getting what he wants. Okay. Steve releases his arm. Walks toward a blue Porsche parked nearby. Does not look back to see if David follows. Knows he will. David follows. The bar is called The Rusty Anchor. A dive, dark wood and darker lighting. The kind of place where fishermen drink and no one recognizes movie stars. Steve chose well. They sit in a back booth. Steve orders whiskey. Neat, double. David orders the same. When in Rome. The drinks arrive. Steve downs half of his in one swallow, sets the glass down hard. I just buried my best friend. David nods, does not speak. There is nothing to say. Bruce and I met in 1967. Did you know that? He was teaching martial arts to celebrities. Someone told me about this Chinese kid who could move like nothing you ever saw. I went to check him out. Steve stares into his whiskey. First lesson, he put me on my ass 6 times in 30 seconds. I was Steve McQUEEN. Nobody put me on my ass. But Bruce did not care who I was. He only cared if I could learn. He looks up at David. We trained together for 6 years, 3 times a week when I was in town. He was not just my teacher. He was my brother. Do you understand? Not friend. Brother. I understand. No. You do not. You cannot. Because you never met him. You took his role, but you never shook his hand, never looked in his eyes, never felt what it was like to be in a room with Bruce Lee. David accepts this. It is true, but that is not why I stopped you. Not to make you feel guilty. You already feel guilty. I can see it on your face. You have been feeling guilty since you got the part. Steve finishes his whiskey, signals for another. I stopped you because Bruce asked me to. David freezes. What? 1 week ago. July 17th. Bruce came to my house. We trained. Then we sat by my pool drinking beer, and he told me something. Something about you. The second whiskey arrives. Steve wraps his hands around the glass but does not drink. He said, Steve, if anything ever happens to me, I need you to find David Carradine and tell him something." David's throat is dry. He takes a sip of his own whiskey. The burn steadies him. I said, "Bruce, what the hell are you talking about? Nothing is going to happen to you. You are 32 years old. You're about to become the biggest star in the world." He just smiled, that Bruce smile. Said maybe, but just in case. Steve finally drinks, smaller sip this time. I asked him what he wanted me to tell you. He said he wanted me to tell you that he was afraid of you. David almost laughs, thinks it is a joke. Afraid. Bruce Lee was afraid of me. That is what I said. I said, "Bruce, you could kill Carradine with your pinky finger. What the hell is there to be afraid of?" And what did he say? Steve sets down his glass, looks David directly in the eyes. He said David Carradine does something I cannot do. He said when Carradine is still, he is actually still. His mind is not racing. His body is not coiled. He is just present, empty, at peace. Steve's voice drops. Bruce said I have spent my entire life training my body, making it a weapon, making it fast and strong and dangerous, but I cannot turn it off, even when I meditate, even when I sleep. Part of me is always ready to fight, always waiting for the attack. I am never truly at peace. David listens, the bar noise fading, just Steve's voice and Bruce's words. He said Carradine found peace without training for it, found stillness without fighting for it, and that terrifies me. Because what if all my training was the wrong path? What if the way to peace is not through mastering violence, but through never needing it in the first place? Steve shakes his head. Bruce Lee, the greatest martial artist who ever lived, afraid that a television actor understood something he missed. David does not know what to say. This is not what he expected, not accusation, not anger, something else, something that sounds almost like respect. Why are you telling me this? Because Bruce asked me to. Because he said if he died before he could meet you, he wanted you to know that he saw you, that he respected you, that he wanted to learn from you. Steve finishes his whiskey. And because I need you to understand something. When you walked into that cemetery today, everyone looked at you like a thief, like the man who stole Bruce's birthright. But Bruce did not see you that way. Bruce saw you as a teacher he never got to meet. David's eyes are wet, the whiskey and the words and the weight of it all. He wanted to meet me. He was planning to call you next month. After Enter the Dragon came out, after he proved himself to Hollywood. He wanted to sit across from you like we are sitting now, ask you how you do it, how you find stillness without the struggle. Steve signals for the check. He never got the chance, but I made him a promise. I told him if anything happened, I would find you. Tell you what he said. Make sure you knew that Bruce Lee was not your enemy. He was your admirer. The check comes. David reaches for his wallet. Steve stops him. I said you were buying. That was a test. Wanted to see if you would argue. You did not. He pays himself, stands up. Bruce was right about you. You do not need to prove anything. Do not need to fight. You just are. He looks down at David one last time. Stop coming to his grave with guilt. Come with gratitude for what he created, for what he saw in you, for the meeting that should have happened, but never did. He walks out. The king of cool disappearing into the Seattle afternoon. David sits alone in the booth, the empty glasses, the weight of revelation. Bruce Lee was afraid of him, not of his fists, of his peace. The greatest fighter in the world intimidated by a man who could not fight at all. He thinks about every episode of Kung Fu he filmed, every moment of stillness, every scene where he did nothing but exist. He thought he was faking it, thought he was pretending to be something he was not. But maybe he was not pretending. Maybe the stillness was real. Maybe Bruce Lee saw something David could not see in himself. He finishes his whiskey, leaves money on the table for the waitress, walks out into the gray Seattle afternoon. The rain has finally started. Soft, gentle, the kind of rain that cleans things. He walks back to the cemetery, stands at Bruce Lee's grave. The fresh flowers, the fresh earth, the name carved in stone. I did not know. I am sorry I did not know what you saw, but I will try to honor it. I will try to be what you thought I was. He stands there until the rain soaks through his suit, until the cold reaches his bones, until the guilt starts to wash away. Steve McQUEEN found him, delivered the message, kept his promise to a dead friend. Some words wait until exactly the right moment to be spoken. Some fears are compliments in disguise, and some peace is real even when the person carrying it does not believe it themselves. He once said that the hardest role he ever played was not Kane, not Bill, but himself. A man caught between what he pretended to be and what he wanted to become. And maybe that is why his story still resonates, because we all know that feeling, the gap between the mask and the face beneath it. Is there a moment in your life where someone saw through your mask, or a moment where you finally took it off yourself? David Carradine walked through Hollywood for 50 years, carrying questions most people never ask out loud, about authenticity, about legacy, about what it means to be real in a world that rewards pretending. If you want to know the real stories, the ones they did not put in the interviews, you are in the right place. We are peeling back the curtain on the man behind the monk. If this story moved you, hit that like button. It helps more people discover these untold moments. Do not forget to subscribe to David Carradine, The Untold Path. We are just getting started. There are stories about Bruce Lee's master, about the 17-year message, and about the widow who finally forgave. You do not want to miss what is coming next. Leave a comment below. What is your favorite David Carradine role? And did you know he carried this much weight behind the calm? I will see you in the next video. Walk the path.